Hey everyone, it's Nick with Us versus Herd. If you're just coming across this video or you're already a subscriber, thank you so much for watching. If you're new to this channel, hit subscribe. Also, we have a link below to our free options trading group. People are joining every day, and we're just trying to bring the Us versus Herd community together. But what I want to cover today is how to trade options in a choppy market. And what I mean by that is that there's a lot of ups, there's a lot of downs, and I'm going to give you a couple examples on things that are going on right now. People are making money in the market, people are losing money in the market, which is an everyday thing. But the choppiness definitely causes some issues because you can't hold the position too long, or if you do, you start to lose, or you get faked out and you start to sell. So I'm going to be covering some things here. So I'm going to look at SPY here just so you can get some ideas here. And all last year, if I pulled this chart up the other day. All last year, SPY just had a steady climb up. Volatility was low. There wasn't really much pullback. It just had a steady climb, and it was easy to predict the market. Easy to make money. Yeah, there were some red days last year, but it really wasn't. There wasn't any chop. Pretty much, we just went straight up. Starting in February, very choppy, as you can see. SPY, we went all the way from 286 down to 252, and then just been choppy. We've had huge green days, huge red days, and if you're new to trading, it can get very confusing. Do I go long? Do I go short? Yeah, I mean, if you look at the trend here, if the stocks that we're holding are doing fine. If you're long-term holding stocks, that's fine. You're probably doing okay because the trend is still having an uptrend. But if you're trading options, if you're day trading or you're trading weeklies or even like monthlies, there's a lot of the choppiness can cause you to second guess your positions. Maybe you had the right position on all along, but then you get confused because it went against you so much, but then the next day went back up, but you already sold your position. What do you do with that? How do you combat that? How do you trade in a choppy market? And the one thing that I noticed in a choppy market is that you don't want to have your position sizes too big. When you have your position sizes too big, and that's when you start to get nervous when the positions start to go against you because you're trading too big for the market that we're in. So you have to realize what market that we're in. Back here in last fall, last summer, you could have traded big, made money, and the risk was relatively low. And now you could trade. If you trade too big, you could lose it all within 24 hours. And the other thing is, the question is, do I buy options? Do I sell options? And it's difficult because we have a lot of volatility, but also volatility is rather low. If you look down here, we don't really have much, volatility. I mean, we're not at the lows. Let's see, the VIX was at 13 today. Recently we were at in the tens, but volatility is low. Volatility went down today, and also there's a lot of mixed messages. If you're reading the news or the media, there's a lot of things going on with trade, and then you may think, hey, this is going to go lower this week, so I'm going to short it, and then it doesn't. And if you look here, I mean, if you look at SPY over the last month, you went all the way down from the 268s up to the 286s, and this week I would say has been especially choppy because we had this nice climb up here up to 286 and then just got kind of rejected here 3 times, and then we went lower, but then we went higher, and then we went lower, and then we went higher, and I think people are just getting confused because they've been thinking the trend's going to continue. Like most people would say, okay, from 286, we went lower, we're probably going to see 280, and then we didn't. And then the next day, what do you see? You see 280 right here after you've already probably went long, and then you sold your position here, and then after you think that now you're going to go short, then you get screwed because it went up again. So that's what I mean by the choppiness. And there's a lot of things. Like today was one of the biggest days. The Dow was up. Walmart posted earnings, had 10% gain today. It's the biggest day in a long time. The Dow was up 400 points, as you can see here. But if you look here, NASDAQ was only up 8. The S&Ps was up 22. The NASDAQ was the one thing that kind of was like a red flag for me because it was only up 0.12 today when the Dow was up. The Dow was up almost 2%, like a little bit more than it's 1.6%. I mean, that's huge for that. I mean, if you look at this bar, that's huge. But a couple red flags for me today. Amazon went. As you can see, this has been a very choppy thing. If you're long Amazon for the last year, you're doing pretty good. But if you look at the daily charts, let's say you're trading weekly options or let's say further out 2 weeks or a month out, you can see this is some very choppy charts here. We went from 1883 up to 1913, and then the next day we're down to 1879 again, and then the next day we're back up to 1926, and then the next day after that we're down to 1900 again, and then we went all the way down to 1869, and today we gapped up to above 1900, when it hit 1905 area, and now we're back down to 1887, and people are like, how do I trade? I don't know if I go long or short. And what I tell people is that the way that I like to trade, you can trade any way that you want, but the way that I like to trade is I take a look at the list and see what companies have I been the most profitable on this year, and what were my top 3 companies, and then I look at those charts to see if there's any opportunities there, and I keep my position sizes small. You can't guess the market. You don't know if it's going to go up or go down, and right now the volatility is very 50-50, and also IV rank is low, so buying options and things, selling options has been hard lately just because the IV's been low, and the options have been going beyond the expected move for the week. So it's been difficult selling options. So I've been selling small options, nothing that huge. Like today I closed out a Twitter vertical put spread, but for break even, just because the way the tech stocks were going. Kind of made me nervous of the way that it was moving. Twitter actually held up pretty good today, but if you look at Facebook, Facebook went from 179. We closed yesterday after hitting 174, went to 179. We opened up at 180 area, and as you can see, it gave back almost 3%. We went from 180 down to 174, which for Facebook, I mean, that's a ginormous move in all those options and those premiums. If you were selling puts, it definitely went beyond the expected move today. I'm not sure what it was yesterday, what it said, but I guarantee you, with 2 days left in the week, the put buyers were the ones making the money, not the put sellers. So you gotta also have to understand when to buy premium, when to sell premium, and the market that we're in, because the option prices don't always reflect the market that we're in, which is good because you can get really good deals on options. And then let's say there's a lot of volatility and options are fat, and it's really not going to be that the volatility is not going to be that crazy. You sell options and you can make a lot of money, but you have to understand what strategy to use at the right time and what the market is doing. You can't just buy puts, buy calls, and hope for the best. The other day I had I'll show you this here. I had to play a little defense, so I had on. Let's see, let's move this over. Let's get to Alibaba's chart here. Alibaba has been very choppy as well, mostly downtrending the last few weeks, but I actually sold right in here because it looked to be leveling out. I actually sold a vertical put spread, and I had the 180, 177.50, and I think I was up 10-15% on it, and then within 2 days it dropped $13 within 2 days, and I cut my losses. But the one thing that I do notice what people are doing when things go against them, they automatically just take the position off, and then they don't put another position on because they're scared of losing their money, which is good. And if you don't know which way the stock is going, I don't like to invest or trade something I don't know where it's going. But usually what happens is if the stock goes down for a long period of time or the stock goes up for a long period of time, there's going to be some two-sided action because there's always buyers, there's always sellers, and sooner or later one side gets tired and the other side takes over for a little bit. So it's just natural. If a stock goes up or goes down, it's natural. So don't get too concerned. So what I was thinking is on this trade, I lost. I cut my losses there, but I decided to play some defense. So in this market of choppy trading, you have to play some defense, whether you roll your spreads or do something different or trade something opposite. But what I did with Alibaba was I took the loss on the put spread, which was near max loss. I think I only lost like $100 though. I've been trading very small in this choppy market because if you go on a losing streak, you don't want to lose big. You want to lose small. So I took the loss. But what I then did yesterday at open, I bought the 172.50 call because I figured there was a pretty good chance we're going to get a nice bounce here. And the bounce was bigger than I expected. I definitely wasn't expecting to sell this, so I bought it for $1.11 today. Limit price is here, so it cost me $111. Bought it for $1.11, and I sold it this morning for $2.74. So we had almost a 200% return. We're at like 180, 175, which is great. It covered my loss, but I played defense and I made money. And in this market, you just have to be careful and also, get used to. Alibaba is one of my top performers in options trading. As you can see here for the year, there's been a lot of two-sided action. Two-sided action is what you need for options trading for both long and short. You can't just, I guess you could just make money if it went up or went down all the time, but it's a lot easier to make money when you have two-sided action because you'll make money a lot faster. So I played some defense on this, and that's one of the ways that I've been battling against when I have the wrong position on. I will then take either an opposing position or reevaluate how to get the money back or how to readjust my position on, without taking the loss. Obviously you're gonna have to take the loss up front, but you need to have a plan. You can't just go in and, let's say if I went in today and said, okay, I'm gonna double down and buy a bunch of cheap puts on Alibaba, you would have got screwed. So usually when I move like this, when you have a down move this big, it's going to bounce sooner than later. If you look at SPY, when we had the down moves back in February, we had these two major down moves, but then we had a gigantic green day, and then we actually on the following day it went up too, but then it just sold off. So you got to know when to get in, get out, because this position right here, Alibaba, this 172.50 calls were worth $2.74 at open, and at the end of the day, this 272.50 calls. Oops, we're in. This 172.50 calls were only worth $147, so I would have only made $30. So you also have to know when to get in and get out, because if you look at the 15-minute chart on Alibaba today, it gave back everything. For the most part. Yeah, we went from 172 up to 175, and then we went back down to 171. So it gapped up nice, but it gave back everything. So in this choppy market, you just have to be careful. Trade small, know the stocks that you're trading, and stay green. If you're on a losing streak, I definitely just try to take a break. If I'm on a winning streak, I try to take a break as well, because sooner or later it's going to catch up with you, where you're either going to give back those gains or you're just going to lose the money. So that's one of the ways that I've been trading this choppy market. It seems to be working for me. If you have any questions, leave a comment below. Would love to hear from you. I'm sure you guys will have some questions about this, and join our options trading group.